This Sunday. Every Sunday. Side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here! Relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gas, but mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands with the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the Motormouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Garino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
But I have an old jalopy and it's losing all the joint. Well, it really needs a muffler, not to mention all the frozen points.
Yeah. If you need a muffler, or you got frozen points, or you played the wrong tracks, you want to play something else, then you Mouth Radio, Long Island's only automotive talk show with your hosts, Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer.
Now, that's a pretty interesting little tune. Where was that? Who's that by?
This is how we started this CD about 2 months ago.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, well, that's how long ago it was. A Candy Apple Buggy.
That's what I call you all the time.
Yeah, real 50 stuff. I was supposed to play another song, but well, what the heck? We'll let
I like that one.
You know, I guess it's a day of miscues because I hit the Zoom thing to record. It's supposed to record to the cloud. It's recording to this computer.
Uh-oh.
Not supposed to do. So now, after the show, I'm going to have to extract it from there and find out how to move it.
So midway through the recording, you may fill up the hard drive, and then we're all like...
I sure hope not. We'll find out. We'll find out.
We will find out.
Yeah.
How are you on this fine, upstanding, slightly soggy Sunday, Ray Ray?
Oh, yeah, pretty good. It's not bad. Pretty good considering the shape I'm in. You know,
I get it.
been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting housework and things, but a couple cool things have gone on. Let's see. I
just want to start. I want to start off with a lament, as I
go on.
always do.
Sure.
start off with my usual Ray. You know what's funny? I'm always looking on Facebook Marketplace. I'm always, just checking the car classifieds and seeing what's available in the area, because this area is rich in automotive culture. It's just, you don't know. It's behind closed garage doors.
Yeah, for sure.
No one works on their cars. They all bring it to places. You never catch anybody changing their own oil. You never see a hood open in anywhere around here. But it's a car culture heavy area. Up here, Fairfield County, Connecticut. So here's my lament. Whenever I'm on looking at classified advertisements, I want to say to every human being that's selling a car, when you take a picture of the vehicle, put the whole vehicle in the frame. When I see the midsection of a car, where the front is cut off on one side, the back is cut off on the other side. So I'm looking at half a wheel, a door, a roof, and then the other half of a wheel contained in one frame. I get berserk. I'm like, oh, so go to the next picture and you see the front, but just the straight on front of it. And it's like, can you just encase the car in one shot, you fool? Like, I want to call these people up and just start ragging on them. I'll come over and take a picture of your car.
Yeah, photography skills definitely something to be desired. And usually it's like you said, it's the placement of the vehicle, it's the composition of the picture.
Right.
Sometimes it's the lighting. A lot of people just don't understand photography, and they get crappy pictures. I see it all the time.
It's so funny. I have a garage door that happens to be white. So
Hmm.
what I do is I lower the garage door, I put the car in front of it if I'm taking a picture of the car, and I take a picture of the whole car on a white background.
There you go. Yeah,
There you go.
that's good.
This isn't tree surgery, gang.
No, 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 no.
Find a wall, put the car there, take a picture of it.
Right.
So, and it's not like just one or two. This is like all of them. Like everybody just literally lost their mind when it came down to photography and trying to sell a vehicle.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's that becomes a problem.
well,
Well,
there's my lament for this week.
well, it didn't become a problem with the phone, so we'll go to them and say, "Hi, you're on with the Motor Mouths."
Ray, what kind of shape are you in? You know, round is a shape.
That's true. That's true.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Ray.
Hey, John.
Hiya, John. Always good to hear from you.
Chris, I was laughing with the car pictures. You know, the rule of thumb is generally take it from the front left corner and the right rear. That way you encompass.
Yes, you're absolutely right, John. You're
Well, the other
absolutely
thing is
right.
the
You
rule.
have straight on front and back is nice, but
Yeah, it depends if you want to show something specific. The other thing is generally in photography, it's the rule of thirds. You want your subject to be a third of the frame.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's usually, and try not to have, anything that's, competing with it behind it, like the phone poles or trees. I mean, you could be out in you could be in a treed area, and actually that can add to the picture. But, that's, yeah,
No, it's like when you're showcasing a car, showcase the car.
yeah. Don't take it at the mall or at the car show with like 900
Right.
cars around it.
Don't take it at night. Can you? Oh my gosh. I've seen so many car ads where the picture of the car is taken in the middle of the evening. Boy, that really is going to enhance the vehicle now, won't it?
Yeah.
yeah, it's better in the rain.
Well, really, the idea is not a bright sunny day. It's like an overcast day is usually better for photography because you don't get that harsh sunlight.
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
and that
yeah, so that's
really
it.
takes away from it. But yeah, it's simple things that are totally avoided. And I'm thinking to myself, if that's the way you take a picture of your car, how did you maintain this vehicle if you're that smart?
Yeah.
So it's bad enough.
Give credit where credit is due, but I'm not in any way, shape, or form a photographer.
Right. Neither am I, John. I am not by all means, my photography skills are mediocre at best. But still, there's some common sense rules
Yeah.
that one has to follow to make a successful
Absolutely.
sale.
I don't disagree with you, but like I said, my rule of thumb is, get the nose and down the side of the car so you can see it doesn't look like the Long Island Sound or Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, it's true. It's bad enough, and I always lament about the fact that it's bad enough that people try to sell their project cars and they take a picture of what looks like a flea market because there's just boxes of chrome parts and
Well,
engine
but that's
parts.
actually, I don't have a problem with that because that's what
I know you don't.
No, because that's what they have left when they haven't finished. So
But there is nothing that spells aggravation like a Hulk in the middle of a Hulk of a car is sitting in the middle of this explosion of
Right.
parts.
well, think how the guy selling the car feels. Because it's his explosion that didn't get finished, and he's got to
Right.
get rid of it for pennies on. So
So-
what he doesn't realize is going to be pennies on the dollar.
It better be, but half the time it's not. Half the
I
time they're
know.
asking thousands of dollars for
That's
this.
the asking price.
When you have to, like I always say, when you have to show up to the explosion, when you have to show up with a shovel.
Yeah, right.
So,
You should vacuum and empty the ashtray before you take the picture.
yeah,
Nice. Yeah, that'd be nice.
take the container of antifreeze out of the back seat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the spare tire off the passenger seat.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, just for somebody the other day, and I says, I put the back hatch up on the car, and I look, and I go, oh, there's a box of slime in there. Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
And that's good,
Yeah.
advertisement. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a leaky tire.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
John, you'll be happy to know, and everybody else will who's listening. They'll jump off a cliff to know. Next week, we'll be on for 2 hours.
2 hours of joy.
We're doing our annual fundraising event, and our spot is next week.
Yes.
Oh,
Can you imagine the motor mouth's on for 2 hours?
You get your choice of which hour you want to be annoyed by.
I'll take two any given Sunday.
Right, right.
Ray and I get to annoy each other for 2 hours.
That's right.
See who survives.
Right. Like we haven't done it before. We've done it. Yeah, we'll do
The
it.
caged grudge match of
Yeah.
automotive chat.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
All right.
Anyhow, guys, have a great show.
All right, John. Thanks.
I'll be listening in.
You got it. All right.
Take notes,
Bye-bye.
John. There'll be a quiz at the end of the show.
Hey, I got a text like I usually do
In the
from.
middle of the night. Help me, help me.
Well, I wouldn't know because I shut my phone off in the middle of the night. So you can text me all you want. Then I'll in the morning. No, our good friend Jeep and Al.
Oh.
Al Handy, right? He sent me a link to this movie. He says, "Hey, have you ever seen? I didn't know this existed. Did you ever see it?" And I looked and I saw Vanishing Point. I'm like, of course.
Of course.
But it was
It's a
from
rite of
19
passage.
Well, unfortunately, though, this was from Vanishing Point, the remake from 1997.
I will not watch that movie, Ray.
Okay, so I hadn't seen it.
I won't
And I was
watch
like,
it.
wow, another flaky remake that I missed. Oh my god! Because Gone in 60 Seconds, the remake is people love it. No, it's
I've-
no, the
Yeah.
original is the one.
I've seen that one and I'm not impressed, but you're right.
So I actually watched the trailer for this and said, not too bad. So I watched the movie. I found it on a streaming service and I
Is
watched.
that the one with Viggo Mortensen, I think is in
I
that?
don't know. But I just want to tell you, it really follows the Vanishing Point, saga completely with a white Challenger and the whole bit. Of course,
Okay,
they show the
right.
car as having a Hemi in it, but it doesn't. It actually has a 440.
Right.
So I just wanted to just read you a couple of the bullet point lines in the movie, like some of those that stand out.
Okay.
There was one where it was this one of the cops, one of the sheriffs from one of the jurisdictions was going to take chase on Kowalski. They used the
Right.
same name, and they show you him in his garage, and he takes off a cover, and he's got a Dodge Charger, which is like a real hot rod of a car, and he's got lights and sirens or all sorts of stuff, which was strictly for the movie. They didn't do that. They were you can't do that with your personal car. But
Right.
his underling comes over to meet him. He goes, "Whoa, you opened up uncovered the Charger. What's going on?" And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "We're going to catch this guy." And the line is, "You can't catch him in that dog pie Chevy like that you're driving out there, the Impala, the Caprice. It takes a Mopar to catch a Mopar."
Ooh.
That was a classic line.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. So as he takes off,
How did he say that with his straight face? It's just amazing.
they show you they pan to the back of this 68 Charger and there was a bumper sticker. Of course, support your local police. There was another bumper sticker.
Vote for Nixon.
No, it said, "My wife, yes. My dog, maybe. My Mopar, never."
Oh, for God's sake.
Right. So just cool stuff. Then,
The bumper sticker should have said vote for Dick instead.
yeah, right. There you go. Well, I don't
I'm
remember.
sorry I said that.
Yes, you should be. I don't remember when in the movie this line was from, but this is, I know what it was. It was Kowalski found this woman who he fell in love with, and he marries her. And she was, she's a religious, and she asks him, "Are you Catholic?" He goes, "No, I'm not. I'm not." So she says, "Listen, if you want to be with me, you'll have to join the church. Do you believe in all that stuff?" And I think he says, "Do you believe in all that stuff?" And he says, "Don't tell me the only," and she says to him, "No, don't tell me the only thing you believe in is a 426 Hemi." So,
Oh my gosh.
oh yeah, great dialogue.
Who
Right?
wrote this?
At the end, there's a DJ, just like in the original movie, who was
Super
following. Well, this was a white guy, and he wasn't blind, but still, he was in like an indie radio station somewhere, in a second floor room, and of course, the funny thing is, he's tracking him through all these states. Like great coverage that radio station.
Yeah, it was. Wow.
But his
What
line
was it out of Mexico or something?
toward the end, when they were really chomping down on Kowalski, the DJ says, "Hey, when we're all criminals, then who's free?" You know, it was a real like, yeah, real.
Wait, let's go back to dun dun
Yeah,
dun.
So I did a little research and looked up the movie and found out the reason I never saw it or didn't know about it.
Went straight to video.
And the Charlotte Rampling character on the dirt bike she was clothed
Oh,
in a bikini top and a pair of shorts.
that's not Charlotte Rampling,
No, it
but
wasn't, but the
right.
character, you know.
Yeah, her part actually got cut out in the
Well,
original.
right. The reason she was wearing a bikini top and shorts in this one is this was a made for TV movie.
Oh, no way, really?
That's yeah. When I researched, I found that's why there was no
Oh,
language, no bad language, and no no blood, guts, and gore. And the dirt bike
wow.
girl was wearing clothes. It was a made
Okay.
for TV, so
All
that's
right. So,
easy to miss.
so yeah. So how did it end? Did it end the same way? Were
Yeah, it
two
did.
bulldozers involved?
With a codicil, there were the two bulldozers at the end, and he does
Right.
actually crash through the bulldozers. But
Oh, he crashed. I hate to give away the ending
not
on this,
through.
Ray.
No,
You know, a lot of people are going to be throwing their hands up
what
like,
happened was his wife. He was trying to get back to her because she was in the hospital giving birth.
oh, for
and
God's
and she had some problem. There was some complications. So now, of course, everything stopping him was making it harder for him to get back home. She ends up, and when he makes his last phone call, it ends up she dies on the operating table, giving birth.
Oh, okay. So it's a happy ending.
So, well, yeah. So at the end,
Cupcakes and
he
rainbows.
sees her past the bulldozers, like as a vision. He crashes
Oh,
into him now. Apparently, he passes over with her. But then the thing that I didn't get was at the end they said something about they showed him walking with a little girl. Like now he's raising his child in the desert. Like wait a minute, did he die or did he die? Like I don't know. So yeah, TV made for movie. The car stuff for the car quality and the chases and the Mopar content. If you want to see Chevys get wrecked and Mopars survive, that's the movie for you.
that's what, it's so funny because that's what always bothers me is the fact that there are some cars that some Mopars in this case, a Challenger and a Charger that can be enjoyed, yet they were tortured in some sort of TV movie. And of course, those cars aren't going to come back, and you would think that they save them. A
Right,
lot of times they do, sometimes they don't.
right.
And really, why would they save a car like a white Challenger that was uh tortured in some TV movie? That's not gonna, if you could find one of the original Challengers from the original Vanishing Point, which do not exist. They have proven that those cars are gone. But if one of those appeared
Uh-huh.
with the provenance, that would be $1 million car.
Oh, sure. Well, I'll tell you something else. I did look up the movie on IMDb and a couple different sites, and they said that they didn't have a whole hell of a lot of cars for this movie. They really were able to use what they had, and what got wrecked was already planned on being wrecked. So they didn't have. I think there was one. I forget if it was one of the Chargers or one of the Challengers. So they really had. They were kind of. Uh, I guess careful with the cars they use, and they didn't just wreck 30 more
Oh,
Chargers and Challengers.
well, that's good to know. They weren't jumping them over any police cars and they
Oh
weren't
no.
painting them orange. I got a text from Hey Matco Man Brian
Uh-huh.
at 203-670-4127. He says for me to tell you that they need to wait until part two of the sequel to see if Kowalski lived or died.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
So they're
because
gonna hook you up with another TV movie in
I
10 years
left
from
with my
now.
head scratched. I said, "Gee, I don't know now. I could see it going one of two ways. I don't know, but because then of course they at the end they had this just like they had with Vanishing Point. They said, "Wow, someone said in the crowd they saw him jump out at the last second and escape through the crowd because there's a big crowd of people there, right?" The guys doing. They showed the scene before that. They showed the speedometer like 135 miles an hour. Like, oh yeah, he jumped out and survived. Sure, that we could believe. Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, fun watching TV. Thanks to Al for the reference. And
Oh boy. Yeah, and the funny thing is, and this is what makes Vanishing Point the original so remarkable, is the fact that the plot is incredibly weak. It's almost like badly acted, badly directed, but it's just a movie that just works.
I'll
Where
tell you,
it always has, and I think it always will. It always left a mark growing up. I've always remembered it and always went back to it and always rewatched it just to try and figure it out because yeah, when I first left the theater, I scratched my head, go, what the heck was all that about?
all through history, it's either one of two things. You were a Kowalski fan or you were a Challenger fan. That's really what it was. I mean, I guess there's some guys who were law enforcement fans, and maybe they like seeing the cops win. I don't know. But for the people who I know, you were either in it for the car or you were in it for Kowalski, the character.
Right.
Unless
Right.
it was you were in it for DJ Super Soul.
Oh, totally. Come on.
I know.
I wanted to be Super Soul.
Should have saved this for next week when we have to fill 2 hours. But I don't know. I had it in my book today, so I'll have to watch another hokey movie this week and see.
Oh
if I can.
boy, another hokey movie review.
So I got to tell you, yesterday was a day of. It was a crappy day. It was rainy, like it is today.
Yeah, it was.
And all the work I'm doing in the house kind of slowed down. I had some time, and I said, you know what? I want to get my wife's car back over in the shop and do a brake, a better brake bleed. Because when I had it in last month, I did when I do my oil change, I'll rotate the tires, and when I have the tires off, I'll suck the fluid out of the master, refill it, and maybe do a quick bleed at the wheels just to get the old fluid out of there. Even though
That's such a smart idea. No, it really is,
Well,
and
I'll
it's
tell you,
minimal
even
amount of effort.
on my cars, when I take it out of the calipers or wheel cylinder, it's still maybe it's a half a shade darker than what's in the master, but it's still you can almost see through it. The stuff is still clean. I don't
Right,
let
it's
it
not
get
coffee.
dirty. I don't let it get dirty. And after I did that, I noticed driving the car, because we use her car kind of daily. I didn't like the brake pedal. It felt worse. There must have been some air in the line. I don't know where it came from, but I felt just a little more of a sink to that sloppy GM pedal. So I
Right.
said, I gotta get this car back in. So I did that yesterday. Went to the shop, set it up on the lift, and I just bled away. I was trying to do a computer bleed, but the scanner I have, which I thought would do it, didn't do it. So actually, on the Snap-on scanner at the shop, it did let me do like a brake modulation thing where I had to you press the pedal, take it off, but it didn't do the computer bleed. So I did do a good manual bleed, because I'm working towards getting a pressure bleeder tool, which will pressurize it at the master cylinder and
Okay.
pressurize it down. I don't have that yet. I still
Right.
haven't. I kind of looked for a little while. I found some stuff, and now I kind of just pushed it off to the side. I have to get back to that to make that expenditure. So I did a bleed at the wheel with a vacuum pump, and I gotta say, it came out better. But the idea, the bottom line is, if you work on your car like that, or somebody else, you bring it in the shop and they do it, and you're not happy, go back and get it done again. Maybe have another guy do it, or somebody else, or you do it again, and I did it last time, and I do it all the time. For some reason, it just something happened where it wasn't right, and I was getting some air out of those rear wheels. I don't know why.
Yeah, that is really perplexing.
I
Wow,
can't
where
explain
would you introduce air if all you did was suck? I
Yeah.
mean, could you have sucked it to the out of the fluid out of the master cylinder right to the no, it wouldn't
Not
even
this
happen.
time.
I'm thinking along the lines of you suck all the fluid out, but there's still fluid in the tube.
Right.
You're always going to have fluid. You can't introduce air in
Remember the
that
story
situation.
I told you about? This is going back now, I guess, at the end of the summer. I had my Fiat in the shop, and the same thing. I don't know what I was doing to maybe I did an oil change on that too. I don't do a tire rotation on that because it has different sized tires. But I said, let me suck the fluid out of the master cylinder and just do a quick master cylinder suck, which is
Right.
Getting 70 to 80% of the fluid out of the system anyway.
Right, sure, which is a great idea.
And it was toward the end of the afternoon, and I looked at the clock, and I had to be somewhere to pick something up in at a certain time. I forget what time it was, 3 or 4 o'clock. And now I only had less than a half hour to get there, and I had a boogie. I had to get out of there. So I had to put everything away, get out of there. I left, and I made my first stop at the second traffic light after the shop, and the brake pedal felt great. I'm like, oh, good. A guy was talking to me about the car, hey, what is that? Yeah, it's a Fiat, blah, blah, blah. And as I took off, I realized, did I ever fill the master cylinder? Oh my God, I never filled it. So now, Saturday afternoon, and I'm thinking between where I had to go and where I was and where I had to go, there were no auto parts stores, so I couldn't stop and get fluid. I could have gone back to the shop, but I didn't want to have to go backwards. I wanted to keep going in that direction. So the other shop is in Limbrook, was kind of on my way. I hightailed it over there. And I pull up in the driveway, and there was, Mike and Nick was standing there. And like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I need brake fluid fast. It's in the cabinet. Great. So I open the hood, I go flying in, and as I open the hood, there's the cap. the cap off the master cylinder, sitting right on the cowl, right where I left it. And I had an empty master cylinder reservoir.
Oh my
And I am
gosh.
telling you, I had brakes all the way there
Right.
because the fluid was up to the master cylinder reservoir.
Right.
It just meant no more could come down. But I drove with no fluid in the reservoir.
Don't try this at home, gang.
Look, I literally topped it off, put the cap on, and drove away, and the car was fine. So
It was fine. You didn't introduce any air into the system
no,
by doing
I guess because it never went down past the valve in the master that opens up, the bleed port that opens up.
That is
It never went,
hysterical.
if it had gone past that, yes, you would have introduced air. But there was
Right.
enough between that car has a master cylinder, a plastic one that sits on top of the log, the master cylinder log.
Right.
So
Sure.
I guess that plastic piece has a little bit of a stem. There was enough fluid there, just enough to stop that from happening. And believe me, I was just surprised as anybody listening to this right now may be. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I was
I'm
like,
just
you idiot. I gotta go. Oh, quick, go. Like, oh, forget to fill the car.
right. You got to go, but you didn't think about having to stop.
No, right, exactly. And yet I did. So it all worked out fine. So.
Yeah, John just texted us at 203-670-4127. He said, unless you had a huge life insurance policy.
Well, yeah, I do pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want to go crashing into anybody. Right. So yeah, so that was I'm quite impressed. Also quite perplexed that you were able to introduce some air into the cruise, but I think I'm starting to get a little unstable on that car as it is. So.
I know. Hang on. We got another call, so let's go back to the phones and say hi, caller. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Hey, what's going on, Ray? What's going on, Chris? It's Mike Jr.
Hey, Mike, what's happening?
What's up, Mike?
How you doing?
Another phone number you're calling me from now. I almost didn't
pick
pick.
on my phone, so I got to call off my girlfriend's.
I almost didn't pick this one up. Like, I don't know that number. So, what's going on, Mike?
You're talking about brakes. I was just doing brakes yesterday, but I had to tweak your method of getting the fluid out of the master cylinder.
Okay.
You got to turn the car upside down.
Turkey baster. Yeah, turn it upside down. You gave me a turkey baster a while ago. I don't know where you stole it from, your kitchen or something like that. But
No, he brought that one back to the kitchen.
I couldn't get it in the reservoir of my Crown Vic because it has a sensor in the way.
Yes.
So I'm looking around. I can't figure it out. And then, sure enough, I see just a regular spray bottle. I said, I could just spray it out. So I stuck a regular household cleaning spray bottle into the little
And
the
use
line
this.
of it.
Yes.
Dude, that's
I
brilliant.
used that.
Yes.
I just sprayed it into the bottle because the bottle was empty anyway.
That's
and
great.
I got all the old fluid out, and I even got all the way down into the wells. I was able to really, really get in there.
You know, I tell you, Mike, you pleasantly surprise me sometimes. That's great. Now, I'll tell you what I did. One of my cars, I think it's the Cruise, has a little hole there's like a shallow well with a little hole in it, and the main fluid is down below that. And if you ever need it, in Oceanside, in the cabinet on the wall, I have a thin piece of tube that I put onto the turkey baster that goes through that hole and would suck it out. So you're right. When you're faced with something that isn't obvious, you got to improvise.
I actually
I had the
used
hood open charging mixer, and I seen this fluid, and I said, Ray wouldn't like this. So
No.
I had to get rid of the fluid.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so funny, Mike, because I do the same thing. I look at it and go, no, Ray's not going to like that if he sees it.
Yeah.
I do the same. He's like, lives in our head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though what, Mike?
Even though I would never think to change it after knowing Ray,
Right.
I'm looking at it and saying, nah, Ray's going to say, this is no good. What's going on here, Mike?
Well, that's the thing. Mike and I, when we were at the shop together, we had a lot of talks and a lot of conversations about brake work and brake practices and the wrong things people do. And Mike's he's a great study of stuff like that. So he's, a lot of guys, you talk to him, you tell him something's like, yeah. And that's it. That's the end of it. Mike takes it to heart. He does, that's a sign of a good technician.
Well, you have a good argument all the time. So
I try.
You're persuasive that way.
I try.
Yeah, but I use a piece of surgical hose. Right. I don't know where I got it from.
Okay.
I got to thank my dad for that. But I use a piece of surgical hose on the turkey baster as well, and that slips right into all kinds of cracks.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. Into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mike, as you know, as the fleet increases, we all want to buy more cars. It's fun, right? We buy a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, but you got to maintain those cars
More
now.
crap
So,
to take care of.
yeah. So,
Yeah, you're buying other people's unmaintained
Oh.
stuff, and then you're trying to you're trying to back up to where they stopped maintaining it.
right. Well, that's why I got in the
Yeah.
habit of doing, like I said, when I do an oil change, it's a tire rotation and a brake flush. Just do them all at once. The car's already on the lift.
Oh,
So,
dear.
for another hour's worth of work, big deal. You're in there. You're having fun anyway.
Mhm.
Well, for anyone out there, if anyone needs to buy a car and Ray's selling one, definitely buy Ray's old car because this thing was taken care of
Yeah.
like it was a Rolls Royce with an open checkbook.
Well,
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to get rid of the cruise, Mike.
no, actually, when I sold the Mazda, and a guy came down and bought it, and I gave him a list of all my the sheets I had from 2006, and he goes, "Wow, I thought you'd have more pages of stuff." I said, "Well, let me tell you something." I said, "I didn't record every oil change and tire. I did
Right.
on a separate list." I said,
You're
"That's."
meticulous, not that
I
meticulous.
said the car didn't need anything else because I took care of it. I was the only one to drive it. So as his girlfriend was really the car person, she's scanning the list and says, "Wow, I see a lot of normal stuff." She goes, "This car has the original clutch and it had 100,000 on the car." I said, "Yeah, it does. Matter of fact," I said, "No, nice that you noticed that." She goes, "Well, usually the clutch would have been changed by now." I said, "Yeah, by some goomba that's driving and slipping." I said, "I'm the only one that ever drove this car. Two people drove the Chris. You drove it.
I drove it.
Mike drove it." I said, "That's it. No one else has ever driven this car but me, and I know how to drive a stick shift. So yes, that's it." And I said, "You know how it's got a hydraulic clutch. So feel the pedal. If the pedal, if the clutch is bad, the pedal's going to be low, and you can't bring it back up because it's hydraulic." I said, "It's right where it should be."
So at least you won't have to change the air conditioning belt on that car anymore, the stretch belt.
Right.
I remember that one.
Oh, what a disaster. Yeah. But other cars have that now too. So it's,
Yeah, I have a stretch belt on the Mazda. I flatly refuse to change it till it breaks.
Joe and I fought over that in the shop one Sunday after the
Let
show.
it break.
And we were using little pieces of plastic as wedge. We got it on, but it was like a meeting of the minds. Mike, at some point, if that shop can talk, it can tell some really, really good stories.
Yeah, it definitely can.
Yeah, funny stuff.
Got to write it down. Write it down.
Yeah.
We got movies to make.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool, Mike.
Excellent.
All right. Well, you guys do your thing, and I'll be listening.
All right, Mike, thanks. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, so that does take us to the bottom of the hour, where
It
we have
certainly
to take
does.
care of some business.
What do you got? What business do you have, Ray?
Oh, well, I have
What
to tell.
words of wisdom are you dropping on us? What gems are you dropping on us now?
I have to tell you and the other fine people that this week's Long Island News is played on this station Fridays at 3 p.m. They went back to a news show. They were talking about that for a while. They had nobody who could do it. Well, now they do.
Nice.
And of course, who else would you find but Bill McIntyre?
One of my faves.
Now, let me ask you a question. McIntyre is a pretty common name, right? We could. I think if you wrote McIntyre, most people would know how to say it. On here, it's written MAC-IN-TIRE, McIntyre.
McIntyre. They gave you the phenolic.
The phenolic. I got the phenolic.
Phenolic way of pronouncing.
Right. So join host Bill McIntyre, who's great.
McIntyre.
Bill has called this show, and we love talking to him.
Yes.
He'll give you a look at the stories shaping the Long Island community over the past week, which these weeks, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And listen as Newsday reporters and local newsmakers talk about the stories affecting Long Islanders, just like you and me.
Oh, yes. See, you and I can't do a political show.
No, we couldn't.
Oh,
No, we
we
couldn't.
can't
Well,
do that.
actually, that would probably be a pretty damn good show.
It would be a lot of yelling.
Because if you watch some of the shows that are out there, they usually have, like on the 5, they have 4 people who are pretty much Republican, conservative, and there's 1 Democrat.
And there's one favorite.
And they do that to have their, to have a balance. And on CNN, they do the same thing. They have a show where they have a Republican person, which I think is needed because, sometimes it's just a misrepresentation or people get a misrepresented idea of what's going on. And you can explain that away if you have somebody else who understands it or believes it better. So, but like I said, the thing that would be good would be the fighting and that's why people would tune in.
The fighting and the finger pointing. You're an idiot.
Wants to hear
You're an idiot.
They just want to hear the fighting, right? So what else I have to do is I look out the WHPC weather window up here.
Yes.
I see that our weather forecast is powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. Great place, both of them. Today's weather, cloudy with periods of rain this morning, high of 57. I had to use the delay wipers on the way in this morning.
Ooh.
Tonight will be cloudy with light rain developing after midnight, low of 41. Tomorrow, light rain early and remains cloudy. We're in this kind of like cloudy, rainy funk.
Well, yeah.
So,
April showers, remember.
Right, exactly. Well, I guess we're getting it. So do we
Bring
have
top-down weather in May.
You know, I meant to look on here. I found something that I wanted to use for music for you, and I didn't.
You gonna sing me to sleep?
What's that?
You gonna sing me to sleep?
No, for the honor group of the hour.
I do.
I didn't. Let's see.
I have a fairly lengthy honor group of the hour, so I could start reading it now while
I'll see if
while
I can
you fall
find
asleep.
Go on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour, where we honor every group of individual every week here on this program, where you could stand up and take note, and hopefully someone will pat you on the back or feed you a nice hot dog or something along those lines. But that's what we do here. We like to cheer some group of our own here at the Honor Group of the Hour. And this week, with the weather getting warmer, the unpredictable and adventurous Motormouth Radio listener, their sights turn to greater expectations. So this week, with spring on the way, the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour is anyone who has or is planning on dragging another project car back home. Were you looking feverishly at some classic car projects during the winter months at night, when the rest of the family was sound asleep so they wouldn't start complaining to you? Were you practicing all day, touting the benefits to your wife and family on what another project car will bring, the benefits that something like that will bring? Shovels and explosions. You can't remember which garbage pails to take out on trash day, but you can coordinate scoring a pickup truck from one friend, a trailer from another, a quick stop at the bank to withdraw thousands, and the route to and from the destination where the project car once lived without waking a family member. So if you ever found a bigger project to work on while the other one you've conned the wife into buying will serve as a parts getter, since you just got that one running, then you're officially part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour.
Nice.
I love it. Can we keep that music?
It's not the version I wanted.
I love it.
It's not the version I wanted, but I think it'll do. This is Jesse McReynolds. I don't even know who that is, but
let's cart that up.
I'll have to look. I may find something else. We'll see.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, I don't know. So what the heck? What can we do? So,
good
all right,
stuff. Good choice.
Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's take our break, and we'll be back with a little bit more Motormouth Radio with Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. Keep it where you got it on 90.3 WHPC. Now you can dance.
With answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the Motormouth thing.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar Lifetime Nationwide Warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
Okay, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my buddies at, what's the name of it again?
Motormouth Radio.
Hey, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my friends at Motormouth Radio. Sunday morning, I don't know what this fat bald guy's laughing about. You'll forget stuff soon enough too, my friend. Be sure to listen. When are you guys on? 10 a.m.?
Sundays at noon.
Noon on Sundays.
Excellent. This was
No, you got the promo. The best one was the first one. That's why I was. Because you said, what was the name of this again? That's the promo.
What better presentation could you do than that?
Hey, you, get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the Motor Mouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. 90.3 FM, WHPC. You might learn something.
Yeah, I don't know what you learned. I don't know what we learned. We'll try and teach something. We learned how to listen to different types of music. So we're back, Motormouth Radio, Long Island's only automotive talk show with your hosts, Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer. Give us a call, 516-572-7440. Vince just gifted me with pictures of that car, the Challenger, and because I couldn't, I didn't know I wanted to post something on it, but I didn't have any pictures. And he said they had the hero car, that Challenger, still in dirty condition in Floyd Garrett's Muscle Car Museum when it was in Sevierville, Tennessee. So he sent me a few shots, so I got them, and I'll put those up on a post where I talk about, we talk about what we did, put it up on. Usually it's Monday or Tuesday. I'll put the post up.
Let me see if I can show this picture without. It's Glenn sent a picture at 203-670-4127 of a Falcon, Ford Falcon with a quarter panels bashed in.
I see
and he says he saw this for sale the other day. What not to drag home as a future project.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Glenn.
Yeah, no.
But, some people, I was just watching a video on YouTube. It was Tom Cotter, our good friend Tom.
Oh, Tom.
The barn hunter, where he found a guy, I forget he didn't say which state he was in. And the guy had a 65 Mustang GT350. I had to send this to Brian, because I know Brian has a real soft spot for those GT350s.
So do I.
One that got away. This guy's had it since it was new.
Oh, wow.
But he also had a Comet. Was it a Comet? A Falcon. There was one of three of them. There was three versions that Holman and Moody had built for racing.
Holy moly, really?
They said, yeah, they like nobody was using that platform, but Holman and Moody did. And this was like the Challenger, not the Challenger, the Falcon 1. So cool stuff. Just like that. A car looked just like that. It was really, really kind of neat. So,
Yeah, it's it's so funny because there's a lot of individuals, and they got to hand it to them, because I'm not one of them. But there's a lot of people that will look at a car like that and will see that dream. We'll see that Holman and Moody factory FX replica race car in their minds. You have that little talent.
Well, I'll tell you also.
I don't. I look at that car and I go, forget it.
Aaron, that's what did to me. Aaron Kaufman from Richard Rawlings show, Fast and Loud. He built one to do the Pikes Peak race in. Right. And it was really cool. He did it in that I don't know, I forget what the color white was called. Not ermine white.
Apollo white.
Yeah, it was a Ford color. I
don't
know. I just can't recall it.
Right, GM is Apollo white.
Cool, just all white, and he built it as a race car, and he did it a couple times. So he showed how the certain things he didn't work. He had to re-engineer, do something else.
Right,
and that was a cool looking. I've always liked those round fendered Falcons. I like the round fender ones. Not a fan. They squared it off. A friend of mine had a Caliente. Again, it was kind of got longer and it was squarer. The round fended Falcons, I think, are real tough look. I mean, I've seen some of those as gassers and race cars, and they look mean as hell. They
look like little armadillos in the street. They just like these little.
But that's the thing. If you do them as a hot rod, dress them up, they really look kind of cool.
Automotive dirt grub.
Okay, that's interesting. Hey, I
was actually a fan of the square ones. I actually like them.
Of course. I want to tell you what I was a fan of, because this is great. I want to get this woman on the show. On Thursday nights, Playing in Traffic, we had she's been on before, and I kind of remember when she was on. I got to look back in my logbook.
I had a laugh. I turned on the show and I saw there was a woman on there. I'm like, wait,
Not
what?
only is she a woman, we've had women on there, and that's how I started by telling her I love when we have women on that show or on this show. Sherry Lynn Westrich she was on Plain and Traffic. She's actually an Iowa senator, and she's on Overhauling with Chip Foose.
Son of a gun.
So she is a car girl for sure.
Wow.
And
Quite
she
impressive.
does her stuff on TV, and she's the bona fide Iowa senator. So she tries to keep car bills moving in her state. She knows her stuff.
Wow.
Now, I'll tell you something. I almost felt kind of bad, but in the long run, it worked out well. Our good friend and listener, Christian, had asked me about Thursday night, and, come on. I said, yeah, you know what? I'll send you a link. Come on Thursday night and hang out with us. Well,
yeah,
he did come on.
He did.
The problem was Christian kind of stole the show from Sherry Lynn.
Oh.
But she was very interested in what he had to say.
Well, he's an interesting guy.
He is. And I told that to Brian. I said, Christian is one of those guys where he always has something to talk about. That's phenomenal.
Always learn something. Yeah.
And he did, but it kind of stole her thunder a little bit. But she was interested as well. And, I even apologized to Lewis. I said, hey, look, I'm sorry if I, brought a guy in who stole the show. But, he stole it with fair,
I'm sure
I guess.
a lot of good things to say.
Wasn't from being a boob or just over talking people.
Right.
He really had comment.
It's stuff. It's funny because I clicked on it briefly and I was more interested in the woman in the room, right. But it did look like Christian. Yeah.
Yes.
He's at a weird angle.
Yeah.
But that's
Wimbledon White. Thanks, Vince.
Wimbledon White.
Right.
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah. It was in there somewhere.
But I think he would totally be an asset to the program.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, he likes to be descriptive in his stories. So I always say an hour-long program for Christians, not enough, not enough time.
Right, and he said the same thing. So that was a really good show. If you go onto YouTube, it was on Facebook Live, but it's on YouTube under Playing N Traffic, and you can watch that and see what she had to say. So it was kind of cool talking. It's always cool talking to people who are on the national TV shows. Because she had really good things to say about Chip Foose, which most people do.
Yeah,
he's a nice guy, and
he seems to be well accepted in the field.
Yeah. Nice.
It's all around nice guy.
So what are we going to talk about next week? We got to do 2 hours next week for this fun.
I know. I got to get back into the garage and start breaking things.
Brian, I know, has a real big car show coming up in his area next week. They said like 600-800 cars. He said they're going to be pulling into this show in it sounds like a strip mall parking lot. So wow, that's going to be interesting.
Jeez, holy smokes.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. I actually was on a oil change kick and I did exactly, I did that same thing that Mike earlier was just talking about. I changed the oil in the Explorer and then I'm looking at the tires and I'm like, I got to rotate them. Ray's going to give me grief if I don't rotate the tires every other oil change, because that's usually when I do it. And yeah, I put the car in the garage. I can't jack up the car in my driveway because I have an asphalt driveway.
That's why I went to concrete.
Yeah, and the jack will sink in it. So what I do is that's what I have. I have a thick board, but it's a project because you got to put the jack on top of the board, slide the whole shebang under the car, and then start jacking it up. And you have to make sure the wheels are on the board. So it's always a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So what I do is now I move all the cars out of the garage. I'm like, all right, start them up.
Okay.
Get them all out.
Right.
I put the Explorer right in the middle.
Okay. Good.
And that's what I do because my garage floor has got to be the worst concrete floor.
Most are.
Oh my
But
God.
for you, that's a great idea because with the way you do projects and the time it takes, sometimes you could end up having rain come in, snow might come in now.
Yes.
Next season, avalanches, leaves, you never know. So at least you'd be out of
locusts.
the weather. Yeah, locusts. Yeah. And me, I started that project on my car, on the Pontiac, to put that relay box in. And
How'd that go?
Well, it stalled. That's how
it stalled.
I made the frame. No, I made the frame. to mount the relay box on, and I put some pieces of angle iron on the core support to mount
Right.
that to. I painted everything. I posted that last week. I threw those pictures.
I want to go look at it. I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, it's nothing. There's not too many because now I have to install that brace. I know the battery's going to fit. I can see, but again, I'll do it physically to make sure. And then I have to do the thing that's given me the most amount of angst. I have to take the 2 headlight relays that I currently have wired to the car and wire them to the relays that are now on the relay panel. And the problem is the wire colors are not the same.
Oh,
It's very common
wire
when you get.
colors are not the same.
Yeah.
Ray.
But I'll tell you what is the same. The phone light. So let's go onto the phone and say, hi, caller. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
There he is, Matco Man. What's up, Brian?
What's up, my brother?
Hey, man. I was sitting here listening to you guys, and I just want to give you guys a visual picture. As long as I've known Ray and it's rubbed off, I feel like Fred Flintstone when he has the good Fred and the bad Fred. But instead, it's the good Ray and the bad Ray telling me you need to do that. Don't walk away. So Ray's got input on everybody there.
What was the specific task at hand, Brian?
There's I don't think you might want to save me for the 2-hour show for that. But.
Okay.
Oh, good. Come on,
right,
give us just a little bit. Just give us a taste. Give us a tease.
One was my brake master cylinder for the Mustang.
Oh, we go.
I dragged it.
Okay.
Is that Brian? Is that a 1-pot or a 2? It's a 1-pot.
Oh, it's a 1-pot. It's like a coffee can. It's a
Ah.
coffee can, and he's like, "You're not putting that on," and I'm like, "Yes, I am." I feel like I'm yelling at my dad.
Right.
I will do it.
Well, now I learned that was what was on that GT350 with a disc drum system that used a single master cylinder. I've never heard of that before.
Wait a minute.
Actually, that was a 66 Hertz.
Yes, the Hertz.
Shelby.
Right.
So that's why kind of a rare car. He bought it right after Hertz retired them. So
Brian, you now know how I feel at times when I'm like in my driveway and I'm going, freaking Ray, but I'm not using the word freaking.
No.
No. Well, I look around to see if that drone or that camera turned on, because I know Ray's going to find out that I really didn't change that fluid when I should have.
Right.
Well, I feel your pain.
I tell you what, it's great. You can blame whoever you want. It's really
we blame you.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's good. I'll take that all day. But it's really all on you guys because it's your own freaking dirty consciences which are sitting and nagging at you, saying, "I know I'm wrong, and I know he's right, so I got to do it." But you blame it on me. That's okay. I'll take it.
No. Brian and I lived our lives fairly trouble-free.
Danger drive. Anybody? You want to 3-finger Jim? Yeah.
Come on. I remember the old days when I used to top off brake fluid. Okay.
That was the change. That was the change for that time, right? Top it off, right?
Well,
yeah,
you know what? We're all coming honest here. We're all friends. Years ago, through my teens, I really didn't do. I did brake jobs. I changed shoes, drum shoes, and disc pads. But I didn't do really like any hydraulic work. I don't think I hadn't changed a master cylinder. I just it's on there, leave it alone. I didn't.
It was all coffee.
It's all this is all my when I got smart enough and started reading like real manuals, and I knew that this stuff is a thing,
Yeah.
But,
that's true.
But anyway, yes, that's good.
No, but I just had to call. I was like, well, sometimes I got that little Ray and that bad evil Brian on the shoulder saying, "Go ahead and do it." Let's change it.
Exactly.
Brian, I was living my life automotively fat, drunk, and stupid before I met Ray.
Yeah, well, I'll let you guys go. It's almost that time, and you guys stay out of trouble.
All right. Thanks, Brian. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, my brother.
All right.
Thank you. I feel your pain.
That is Matco Man Brian. Check him out at Hey Matco Man on Instagram. I think he's and Facebook as well. He is a Matco dealer down in Maryland. So it's funny. I sent them a picture. I'm on YouTube. I'm watching. There's these. Brian and I have been talking about again brakes, ratcheting brake line wrenches. We've been talking about it for years now.
Okay.
And there had been some that came out, but they never really were great. And Brian had one or two versions and says, Matco was going to come out with something again, but they didn't. And now they came out with a new line of these ratcheting brake wrenches. It's a ratcheting wrench on one side and a fixed wrench on the other. So you break. This is the problem. This is the problem with all ratcheting wrenches. Guys want to break the tight bolt with the ratcheting end and then ratchet it off. No, it's like using your like using a ratchet or the electric ratchets too.
It's not strong enough. Yeah.
You should be really using a breaker bar if it's that tight.
Right.
Or a good box end wrench, and then you go to the other modality. So, and that's why guys, they buy this stuff, they blow it apart and break it, and then they want to go to the tool guy and warranty it, like for their stupidity. So they put the fixed end on these wrenches to break the tight fitting with, and then you put the ratcheting end
You turn
on,
around.
which I get.
Make smart. It's a smart idea. Yeah, sure.
So I sent him a picture of these new wrenches, and he says to me, I can't believe it. How do you find this stuff? You know about this stuff before I do. And I'm the I said, well, you got to subscribe to their Matco's YouTube channel because that's where it is. So that's another one on my list.
So I got a text from John at 203-670-4127. He set up the question for next week.
Okay.
Since it's a 2-hour show, will there be 2 honor groups? So
Yes.
I say to you, John, tune in to find out.
Well, I tell you what my plan is, and I told this to Kim earlier. I
think we should do 1 hour of show and then repeat it.
Oh yeah, we'll just leave it and repeat. Right. No, I plan on running 2 separate shows. Really, it's going to run like 2 separate shows.
That's the way it should be.
Now that's going to be kind of interesting. Let's slip Bob in here real quick.
Okay, Bob,
you're on, Bob. What's up?
I'm looking for the new Mr. Haney.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, confuse Chris from the Nutmeg State.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank for his input today. I'm leaving more confused than I could possibly be when he talks.
Well, I tell you what, Bob. Listen, next week is our fundraiser show, like we do every year.
Yes.
And you've been threatening to come in, and why don't you? You know what? You're always a contributor, which is very nice. We love that here. How would you like to come in for one of the hours and do it with us next week? Live. This is live. Here's your invitation live right now.
Boy, you put me on the spot.
Well,
like the Knights of Columbus.
Well, because I keep asking you all the other times and you never answer me, so I feel I'll put you on the spot. If you're not going to answer me today, you can tell me later. But
okay,
you're welcome to do it if you like.
That's a great invitation. You guys have always been very thoughtful and generous. I don't know if I'm traveling. I simply don't know if I'm going to go south or not.
Okay, fair enough.
Physically and mentally, Bob.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I will be a contributor, of course, to your program. Thank you for the invitation. And either way, I'll let you know. I guess I can contact you via email.
Yeah, that'll work. Or if I can't give you my number on the phone. Everybody,
right? Don't do that.
I think I can get your number from here, and if I can, what if I'll just send you a text and you'll have my number.
That's fine. Yes,
all right.
They have my number there.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll get it. All right, very good, Bob.
Have a great week, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, Bob.
All right.
Thanks for the sparkling commentary as usual.
Well, we wrangle guests off the street like that, so we're not.
Yeah, we do.
So listen, we're done for this week. We'll be back next week with our fundraiser. Chris, what do I tell people waiting out in the parking lot for me today?
Don't follow us home unless you have a pressurized Blake.
Yeah, pressurized brake bleeder would be good. I'll take it from you. All right. For Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino, Motormouth Radio out. We'll be back next week for 2 hours. Keep it where you got it for Thunder Road because we know you love Kim's show better than ours.
You certainly do.
See you next week.
See you, bye.
All right. This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix